All right, hello there, and welcome back to another week of the Starfield recap. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the news that has popped up over the last week, and we're gonna start with probably one of the biggest ones. So there's been a lot of rumors circulating, a lot of videos that have mentioned that Starfield's newest content drop, the expansion that we've been waiting for, and the PlayStation drop are apparently not coming out this year. They're going to be supposedly postponed till next year. Now I've seen a lot of people mention these rumors, and apparently it comes from like a specific what would you say, like a specific game journalist channel or like website. Where they basically said that according to their sources, which they don't mention sources, but realistically, if you did have sources, you're not going to mention them, that the PlayStation launch won't be this year, and the DLC isn't going to launch this year as well. It's going to launch alongside the PlayStation launch, 2026. Now, the source they reference is this apparently the same source that told them about the leaks of Oblivion, which I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, yeah, Nice Crims is going to have to, give his input, obviously. So, the whole thing with, like, the Oblivion leak, like, yeah, that happened, and yeah, people kind of got it. Now, I'm going to be honest. Realistically, you ever heard the saying, a broken clock is right twice a day? We knew the Oblivion remaster was coming years ago. We knew that there was an Oblivion remaster in the works, and there was a Fallout remaster in the works from the court documents regarding Bethesda. The Bethesda merger, basically. So I haven't deep dived too much into this supposed website to determine the legitimacy of it, but I'm going to be honest, it just seems like they're just kind of grasping at straws. And, right, here's my take on it. I've played Starfield, a lot of Starfield, for you guys that don't know, for you guys that do know. Personally, Starfield is in a bit of an interesting place right now. We're lacking content. We haven't got any content or news from Bethesda in quite a while. They did say, so we originally got news in May that they were still working on stuff, and this news was by a random, or like not a random, well, it is a random, like in terms of them, a specific person, just a random person hit up their Twitter and was like, "Yo, what's going on with Starfield?" And they were like, "Don't worry, we got stuff in the works. We're excited to show you soon." And obviously, games or the Xbox Showcase came out. We all watched it. Nothing of Starfield, just fucking fishing. Because I love fishing. And then we got the patch note that came out probably 2 weeks ago, maybe. There was a patch, and the patch fixed some stuff in the game, and Bethesda said that they're still working, at the end of it, they said they're still working on the game and stuff, and they're excited to show us in the coming months. Now, this is where there might be some. I'm gonna be kind of, give some kind of devil's advocate sort of situation here, because they say in the coming months, right? Months as in plural. Now, this came out around I think the middle of July. Gamescom, it is now, I'm recording this on the 4th of the 8th, so we're now in August. Gamescom is in August, right? So when that patch note came out, Gamescom was a month away. Now, Bethesda have confirmed that they are going to be at Gamescom, but that doesn't mean that Starfield is going to be at Gamescom, okay? So you could argue that the fact that they say in the coming months means that they might not be at Gamescom, and it could potentially allude to, maybe this person is right about the patches, basically about the new expansion and the PlayStation launch not coming out till next year. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I personally don't think that's the case, because we're coming up on a year without any major content from Bethesda. The last like major content drop we got from Bethesda was Shattered Space, which was the end of September. The fans are dwindling. There's less and less every day because people are getting pissed off, which is only fair, you know? Like, no word from Bethesda aside from a vague tweet and even vaguer patch teaser. Like, if they were to go to the if Bethesda were to go the route, right, of releasing the new expansion along, because that's the thing, is this website, to my knowledge, they only reference the expansion. They don't reference anything else. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. We've had a year of Bethesda supposedly working on content, and I'm going to speculate here. This is pure speculation. But I think that Bethesda is working on more than just an expansion. Like, I would like to make the educated guess that we're going to have a pretty substantial free update to the game that will come out prior to the expansion. Because, I mean, yeah, it would be... Because the thing is, even if the expansion was, like, absolutely chock-a-block, there's still a lot of fans that are kind of going to sit there and be like, Bethesda, what's going on? Because as we know, Bethesda have shifted up their whole mentality with how they do updates. You know, when Starfield first came out, they were silent for a couple of months. I think realistically they were silent probably up until like middle of spring. Kind of early summer, late spring, when they, you know, did their updates and stuff. But they dropped some minor updates and they gave us some like FIDOCs and talked about stuff. And then that shifted for some reason. Now, I don't know why. You could speculate. I'm not going to speculate just because there's too many kind of variables of why they could have done that. And, you know, you could be kind of there all day listening it. But I do think that, like, I've said this before quite a few times. Like, Starfield has the potential to be a very big game, you know? Like, it has the potential to draw in, like, a lot of players because some of the core mechanics are there and they're very well done. Like, the shipbuilding mechanic is probably one of the coolest mechanics I've seen in a game. But in order for them to draw in new people, first and foremost, they're going to need to get momentum. And in order to get momentum, what they would realistically do is they would have a content drop that would be free, you know, like a kind of a title update sort of thing. You see it in other games. Destiny does it, Halo does it. Like, there's probably dozens of games that'll do like kind of a free content drop that'll maybe I don't know what this content drop could consist of. Hopefully ship parts, maybe some overhauls to certain elements of the game, maybe an overhaul to the shipbuilding system, an overhaul to the settlement building system, some new quests, some new factions, stuff like that. Something to kind of get the train rolling. You know, we're puttering along. And then we get the teaser of the expansion that's going to be coming out, right? And that's getting people hyped, okay? You've gotten the core fans back because there's still a lot of fans of Starfield that are probably waiting. They're sitting and waiting for the game to get actual good content for them to come back, and, you know. And then once we get that teaser about the expansion, you know, there's going to be more people coming back because they're going to want to prepare for the expansion. And then expansion drops. And then it's like, oh, new expansion. This is awesome. You know, it's going to draw in more people. And then we get the PlayStation drop, which will bring in even more people, right? And while the iron is still hot, we get Bethesda giving us a roadmap of, okay, this is what we've got planned for next year. They don't have to be specific. They don't have to say, this is coming out on the 27th of, you know, January. They can just be like, this is what we're planning. Hopefully we'll get this out by the summer. You know, we'll get this out by the winter, and then kind of so on and so forth. And that kind of process, if they go that route, they can easily blow the numbers up. Now, obviously, as a diehard fan of the game who has been there from the start, I would like them to go the extra step and kind of explain to us a little bit. And why have they been silent? You know, like, are they being silent by choice? You know, because the thing is the kind of the Starfield community is kind of split in half currently. You've got like people who are very like kind of like they're clinging on to any hope they can get, and they're saying, oh, you know, Bethesda are like they're silent because they're cooking some crazy stuff. And then you've got people who are more kind of pessimistic saying they're cooking because they're silent because they probably don't have something substantial enough that they're proud of to talk about. Now, I kind of sit in the middle of this where I think they are cooking something. I realistically, I don't think it's going to meet our expectations because our expectations have just skyrocketed, you know? And it's part of it is our own fault, you know? But the majority of the fault is in Bethesda by saying nothing, you know? Like, you let a rumor keep going and going and going, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? Like, this is another now. We've got another rumor now, this one about it not releasing. I will say if Bethesda opted to wait and drop the expansion at the same time as a PlayStation drop, and that was the only content we got, that would be a massive slap in the face of all of the fans that are still playing the game to this day. Because essentially it's like if you're on PlayStation, it's a GG, you get all the base content and you get new content, you know? Like what are the fans who've been playing from, you know, launch, sitting in the dark, hoping the lights come on? They get nothing, you know? That's kind of partially why I think that Bethesda aren't going to do what these rumors say they're going to do. And again, I have no inside information. I wish I did. You know, I wish there was a Bethesda dev that would hit me up and give me some insight. I definitely wouldn't spoil anything, but I'd probably try and implement it in a kind of a cool way to talk about it. But yeah, it's ultimately we're gonna have to wait and see. Gamescom is this month. It's coming around the end of the 20th. I think the week of the 20th. I will be streaming it. We'll see. Starfield might be there. It might not be there. I will say if it's not there, I don't know how I'm gonna feel, because I'm a big fan of Starfield and I want to see it succeed. But it's very clear that, you know, the numbers are dwindling even more and more. And while I do still believe that if content drops, the numbers will jump, you know, and I think that the numbers will jump to a quite large, you know, like I don't know what the numbers are now. I know people like to go off Steam. I'd probably estimate there's maybe 50,000 people playing overall, maybe. Maybe that's a big maybe. I know people are going to mention the Steam numbers. I'm going to be honest, Steam numbers are kind of not the best use case because a lot of people playing on Steam will be using mods and the script extender, not to mention console, i.e. Xbox is going to be the largest kind of group. Like I would say that the console to PC player base is probably like 60-40, maybe 70-30. And then that remaining 30% that are on PC, I would still say a larger percentage are going to be playing on PC Game Pass because it's free on Game Pass, you know? And I wouldn't doubt that if new content comes out tomorrow, I'm saying tomorrow as in, you know, not actually tomorrow, but like if new content was to drop, as well as, you know, like a teaser for a trailer or a trailer for the expansion, I wouldn't doubt that the numbers would jump to 500k. And you may be thinking, Crimson, what would, that's very big, you know, that's 500,000 players. Like, Starfield had a huge launch. One of the biggest launches that they've ever had. And obviously since then, you know, that number has dropped massively because for various reasons, some people left because they didn't like how certain elements of the game were. Some people just didn't enjoy it. They were expecting Skyrim in space. But I do think that there's a lot of people holding out and waiting. Like, I know a lot of people I chat to who like are aware of Starfield and have played it and stuff, and they're just kind of waiting to kind of jump back in. The sort of kind of the kind of gamers like where they kind of they'll play various different types of games that kind of jump around. Like, I'm the sort of person where like I tend to kind of focus on one or two games at a time. And I tend to kind of like, I'll latch on to a game until it's dead. Like with Fallout, with Skyrim, with Oblivion, games like that, I basically play them until the devs kind of were like, all right, we're done building them. We're going to move on to our next one. But yeah, so, regarding the rumor and stuff, I don't think it's true. I think that it's one of these instances of just kind of, yeah. I think that, if it was true, it would be a massive kick in the ribs to all of the 10 people still playing this game. That's probably 11. It also is, I think a lot of it is also to do with the fact that when there's not much that can be, if you're like, you want to talk about Starfield, the negativity is kind of one of the biggest ways you see a lot of people talking shit about Starfield online. Negative takes on YouTube get views, online it gets clicks, and I think we're at the point now where with the kind of the negative stuff, you're kind of like you're beating a dead horse, and they a lot of creators don't want to talk about Starfield in a positive light because for whatever reason. So I think this is kind of the new thing now. We're kind of pushing this whole narrative of leaks and rumors and all this stuff, and I don't like to transcribe to any of that, because the way I look at it is, until Bethesda themselves tell me something, I'm gonna not believe anything. There is a part of me. There's a pessimistic part of me that thinks that Gamescom stream will go live, and your boy Crimson will be watching it with all of you guys who join with me. And it'll be just a repeat of the Xbox showcase where I slowly lose hope as we see no Starfield, but that's a small part of me. Getting slightly bigger every day, Bethesda, because lack of content. But yeah, I still hold out hope because I want the game to succeed. And I suppose, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Obviously, we got people here different of opinion. This is like as I always say with my content, it's an opinion piece. Like, I give my opinion. You guys can disagree with it. That's perfectly fine. You can agree with it. Also perfectly fine. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what do you think? Do you think there's validity to this rumor? Like, would you transcribe to it? And if you do, because I know that the thing too is like, the PlayStation launch is honestly, that's a big boon for the community because it's more players. But if like I said, if they're just gonna drop the PlayStation stuff and then give them, drop the expansion alongside it, that's kind of like it. Well, it seems like they're only after making money and not after which I don't know. Like, there's a lot of arguments and stuff about like companies these days, like, they're a business at the end of the day. I know it's been talked a lot about like Bethesda, they're so greedy, they're so this and so that. I don't think Bethesda are like inherently greedy. I think that it's very clear if they wanted to kind of nickel and dime us, they could. I know that the paid mod system is making them money. Now, it's not going to make them a crazy amount of money, but it's definitely making them enough money to kind of keep them out of the spotlight of Microsoft and like, who should we cut next? Like I've said it so many times, I'll say it again. Hopefully, if there's anyone from Bethesda watching this, we will pay for content. Like, go back to the Fallout 4 method or the Skyrim method with paid DLCs and expansions. Bring out a paid DLC every couple of months. We'll pay it. you know? Like, we don't want Bethesda to do this route, go this route of, you know, like, it's either expansions, small free updates, or paid mods. But by paid mods, I mean just Bethesda paid mods. Like, the Escape, really awesome quest mod, should have been in the store, like the Xbox store and the Steam store and the PC store. Shouldn't have been a paid mod. But this kind of leads me to my, that's pretty much it regarding like that. Let me know what you guys think. But this leads me on to my kind of my next point. I want to kind of talk about a little bit. It's funny, like, so like I do the whole thing where I'm like, oh, you know, give me some questions to answer and I'll answer them. And like realistically, realistically, it's less me answering questions and more like me kind of responding to negative comments, which is kind of funny. Like, there's a part of me that's half tempted to just kind of like, you know, like react to negative comments and kind of put people on blast and stuff. But the thing is like, I don't want to go that route, even though I would love nothing more than to completely, you know, crap on some of these people that are just coming in here to be argumentative and stuff. I don't think it's a good precedent, like a precedence. I time and time again I try to push this narrative of like, I want the community I kind of foster to be very welcoming and be very chill and very, you know, open-minded. Is that the right word? I don't know if open-minded. Which is ironic because like the amount of times in streams I've had to tell people to not shit on games. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, we're Starfield players. Like, our game is the bottom of the rung, you know? We can't throw stones at other games unless that game is Star Citizen. Then we can fucking throw away. And if you're a fan of Star Citizen, I'm very sorry. I understand what it's like to be in an abusive relationship. I played Destiny 2 for a long time. You just gotta cut the cord. You know, move on. Just come to Starfield. We can customize ships. Yes, there's nothing much you can do with the ships. You know, there's not a lot of combat aside from shooting House Varun, but we can build ships. But yeah, there's a couple things I want to address again, kind of, you know. So I want to just kind of clarify for anybody out there. This channel, it's very much opinion based. Like, even when I do the kind of the mod reviews and stuff, like, it's very opinion based. Like, with the mod reviews, specifically the paid mod reviews, like, I try to put on a kind of a hat of, I'm here to try and be on the side of the user, the Xbox player, the PC player, the buyer. And that's why, like, if I'm critical because I don't like people trying to pull the wool over your heads and stuff like that. And I feel like with any sort of Bethesda game, because Bethesda games are very much, they're very mod centric. Like, I think Bethesda titles are probably some of the more heavily modded games out there. I mean, you look at Skyrim on Nexus, I still think it's probably the most modded game out there. But because of that, you tend to kind of get these sort of like these little kind of cliques of, you know, people who are very kind of pro modding. And I believe in modding. I think modding is quite cool and stuff. But with the kind of the paid modding sort of scene, you tend to get you tend to get shills, in my opinion. People that kind of come in and their whole intent is to just blindly defend mod authors. Especially when the mod, like, a lot of the time it's when mod authors have kind of put out, you know, pretty average generic content or downright questionable content. Like, I've reviewed quite a few mods at this point, paid mods, and I've probably reviewed maybe a handful of mods that I would believe are very egregious. Either mods that are just break your Xbox, you know, not actually break. Tenebro, I'm not really break, more so fuck with your save. Or just doesn't make sense from a kind of a lore point of view and just seems like a scam. And I've had people come out of the woodworks and like accuse me of, I've had mod authors specifically accuse me of being deceptive and like kind of what was the term they used? Basically like kind of almost like falsifying recordings to push a specific narrative. And I'm gonna be honest with you, squad fam, my content's pretty much like I record in a sort of a way of a first impression sort of thing, you know? Like I'll be basically, when I see a new mod that's reviewed, unless a mod author hits me up and kind of gives me information, which they very well can do, I won't always read it. I'm going to be honest with you. I won't, because I don't, yeah, it's like my whole thing is like first impressions, but I will literally go in and I will click record and I will play it as the mod appears, you know? If a bug happens, it's, you know, it's not me trying to force bugs to happen. I've actually had instances where I wish I could force bugs, because it's sometimes, you know, like I say, like, oh, the game crashed, but I don't know if the game crashed because Starfield is buggy sometimes, or if it's the actual mod. So, like, having people, like, say to me, like, oh, you're purposely misleading by doing this, this, and this, it's just kind of like, get your head out your arse, man. Like, we shouldn't be defending mod authors that are making paid content, like, that is egregious, like, unless you're getting paid by them, which if you're getting paid by them, fair enough, you're still the shill. But yeah, it's just crazy to me, because, like, again, it always kind of comes back to the whole ranting about paid mods, because I do think, I don't know how many times I've said, I think paid mods on paper a really good idea. In theory and in practice, or in practice, not in theory, in practice, what we see with Starfield, it's kind of the opposite. But yeah, it's just, yeah, so I just want to kind of touch on that. Like, I'm not that sort of person. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know how many times I've went back and reviewed. I've re-reviewed mods from mod authors that have accused me of being deceptive, which is like, if I was, you know, gonna do that, my guy, why would I go back and check your mod and then kind of give you a better review? Fucking idiots. And yeah, because I've noticed it a little bit. It's like, because there is people who will be kind of diehard, like, I love this mod author can do no wrong. And it's like, that's fine. But if somebody comes along and doesn't like the mod, that doesn't give you permission to come and accuse the mod author of doing things. Like I said, like a couple of weeks ago, people accuse me of deleting comments. I usually don't, and even if I did, it's my fucking channel. Get fucked. But yeah. But that aside, what else was I going to talk about? Because there was a few things that kind of just I found hilarious. Oh, so the tier list I did a tier list, and I got a few interesting comments about people saying like I'm being very biased. And it's like, again, it's an opinion piece. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, but I'm not biased in the sense of this mod author is better than that mod author because I love this mod author. A lot of the time it's biased because I don't like this mod author's practices, you know? Like in the video I had, one was like Call of Duty, and the whole like tier was basically guns that I didn't think fit into the universe, you know? And people would argue, oh, but Crimson, like, you know, any gun could fit into the Starfield universe and stuff. It's like, it can. But if you're going to bring like a fucking AA-12 or like an M416 into the game as a paid mod, you got to do a little bit more than just call it like an Old Earth service weapon, you know? Like, by the Old Earth service weapon, I'm not firing shots at the HK416. That's an awesome mod, but it's also a free mod. You know, with paid mods and stuff, you would like them if they're going to implement weapons that don't necessarily fit the initial kind of mold. Make a quest. Make a dialogue, you know, like make a note. Just explain to me, you know? It's like, hell, if you're gonna like let's say you want to do a mod that adds like the, oh, I don't know, it adds M16s to the game. You could literally be like, oh, found a crate of these weapons in a cave on Earth. Apparently they were used by the US military. We, you know, brought them to Laredo, and Laredo have been like deconstructing them, and they've now kind of mass produced them. Shit like that, you know, that's yeah. But I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, yeah, I know these are kind of a bit ranty, but this is kind of the whole kind of point. It's just me giving my opinion. Shock, I know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think regarding, like, obviously, you know, regarding the rumors about the stuff not coming out till next year, and just in when it comes to like, when it so, I suppose. I suppose one thing I will say before I clean away, I said I was going to end it, but I won't. So my initial kind of intent with the whole with the whole mod stuff and, like, you know, mod reviews and all this sort of stuff. So I try to come across as a very approachable person. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, you want to hit me up, you know, I'll review your mod, this, blah blah blah. Now I've started to realize that, like, there's a lot of mod authors. Well, there's some mod authors out there that they're just going to try and use anyone they can to kind of get their kind of stuff across, which I get it. Like, I realize when I review someone's mod, I'm promoting the mod either positively or negatively, but it's like it goes both ways, because I'm also getting views for it. I'm getting content, you know. But I talk a little bit about it. But I don't like the kind of this whole thing of like I've had a few mod authors that acted all friendly with me and were like, oh, you know, blah blah blah, all this ended up they were just using me, which I will say it hurts a little bit, because it makes me want to close off and kind of be more cynical regarding mod authors. And while I definitely think that looking at some of the more questionable fucking paid mods, it would, no pun intended, it would pay to be more cynical. I don't like to be, you know, that sort of a like when I review a mod, I don't like to go in expecting things to be shit, you know. I like to be like, oh, this is cool, this is, you know. But yeah, so I have some videos in the works where, because I see, again, I'll probably talk more about it in a future video, but there's a few mod authors out there, and I've covered some of them, where they've kind of done, paid mods specifically, they've done kind of egregious stuff, you know, either trying to scam people or just trying to, like, kind of do this kind of slop content, like, you know, bare minimum effort for, like, maximum pricing. And I kind of want to do some kind of videos like drawing light or bringing light to some of these mod authors, but I have to go about it a very specific way, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to, as much as I may kind of, you know, like to shit on specific mod authors, I don't ever want to bring hate to people on a personal level. I just want to be critical of their work ethic and how they promote themselves on a kind of a businessy sort of thing. But yeah, because I've said before, if you guys have had any, because I am in a unique position where mod authors generally will give me the time of day. Like, if I have an issue with a mod and I hit up a mod author, 9 times out of 10 they will usually respond, because I'm a content creator. But if there's any instances of mod authors who have been kind of, you know, assholes to you, or like ignored you or stuff, and you have any proof of that, if you could hit me up on Discord, if you want to join the Discord, and send me a DM, because I do like to be aware, because like I was saying, like, I'm realizing now, and I probably should have realized before, but like I said, I give people the benefit of that. I'm realizing now that, like, the way mod authors will react towards me versus to somebody who's, like, not a content creator is going to be vastly different. And if there is mod authors out there that, like, I am promoting their content, thinking they're really awesome, and then behind the scenes they're not actually awesome, let's say they're deleting comments or ignoring, you know, bug reports and stuff, let me know, because Bethesda ain't gonna do shit. But I don't mind throwing my weight around, and by weight I mean my YouTube channel, not my fat ass, you assholes. I know there's someone there thinking, like, Jesus, couldn't be careful, you might throw a hip out. Yeah, because ultimately, when it comes to the paid mods and stuff, I'm team, you know, team Xbox, team PC, team the users. That's not the right word. What we did. the team. What is it? What am I? What are they? I don't know what the word is, but yeah, I'm team them. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think anyway, and if you have any questions you want to ask, just ask, and I will. Yeah. That's anyway. That's probably the 6th time now I've said that's it. But hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.